obviously this is the best team and best Lamar that we have seen, and M&T Bank is going to show up, and we cannot wait for that to be on display. Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs have seemingly found it. They're in the middle of a dynastic run. Could the Ravens start their own dynasty? Lamar Jackson was actually asked today a hilarious question about, hey, Lamar, what do you like about competing against Patrick Mahomes? And here was his answer.
I don't like competing against him at all. But yeah, I mean, he's a great quarterback. Definitely a Hall of Famer. It's not even it's a no-brainer. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. But it's just, I believe it's just two greats, up-and-coming greats, just going toe-to-toe. You know, like a heavyweight fight. Heavyweight matchup. That's just what I see.
I love it. Do you see it the same way?
Yeah.
And I think obviously there's 4 teams left, so everybody's great. But I think we got it right too with the 4 teams we have this year.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, it is 2 phenomenal quarterbacks. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, 6 AFC championships in 6 years as a starter is mind-blowing. I don't think that we give enough credit or we understand how incredible and how special that is and how lucky we are to get to see this guy play at such a high level for a long time. And I think it's also partially because he has that mentality. He has that killer mentality. He has that, like the clock, whatever it was, the thing that he posted on Instagram. Why am I blanking? The thing about the clock.
Good luck.
Good luck. That's what it was. Sorry. Good luck. Where they were like, saying good luck. And then he remembers that. He has all those things. It's a little bit similar to Tom and what he had. So, but Lamar is playing at an unbelievable level. The Ravens obviously took it to the Texans this past weekend. They played extremely well. They're so well-rounded, man. Their defense is so strong. They can do so much. On offense, they can run the ball when they have to. Lamar can run if he needs to. He can throw when he has to. Like, it's just so difficult to stop that team, and they just look so good. It's going to be a really, really good matchup, and I'm really looking forward to Sunday.
The Colts were able to beat the Ravens, obviously, but throughout the year, this Ravens team, whenever you're watching, and I've said this a few times because it's kind of an enigma almost. You just look at the score, and they're up 2 scores already, and it's over. And it didn't really feel like it. It just felt like, there's a 3 and out, this happened, and then it's over with the way that offense and way that defense plays. They smother people on the defensive side. And Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, a lot of mic'd up stuff's coming out. They like hitting people. They enjoy violence. Kyle Van Noy said it's not up on a wall or anything, but we like, violent football.
I mean,
it's very obvious.
The fact that Roquan ended up there, and obviously they got Patrick Queen, like the linebackers that they have there are so strong. And the fact that Roquan just kind of got out of Chicago and got put into this situation on one of the best and helped make it even better than it already was up there, like he's a special player, man. It's a lot of fun to watch him play in that defense. And my former D-line coach, Anthony Weaver, is up there, and he helps coordinate all the pass rush, and those guys are crushing it with sacks and everything. So it's so much fun to see them. JD's obviously up there, Clowney, making plays. Van Noy comes off the couch and is just dominating. So they got a really special squad up there. The bank is a great place to play. I've played playoff games there, and it's a phenomenal atmosphere. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and seeing that atmosphere again because it's a really cool place, and they do a good job.
That's kind of been our show's thing for the last 5-6 weeks, as it looked like they were going to have home field advantage. It's like, I don't think the national media truly understands what M&T Bank Stadium is like. It is very loud, especially when any team's playing good. Obviously, their fans are going to be louder.
Sure.
They're going to be more invested. That's just natural. That's not bandwagon. That's just people have lives, and why am I going to invest as much time as I normally do in a bad team as opposed to a good team? People are going to be more likely to invest that in a lot of these cities and places. But when that team is playing, that place is bananas. 5 false starts for your Houston Texans team, who I think had a phenomenal run this year. Obviously, young team. But let's go to the other game now. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, JJ, on the other side, Brock Purdy, who didn't play his best game. No one thinks that against the Packers, but he also has been getting bashed a little bit, you could say. What do you think about him just as a whole? And you just said it about Patrick Mahomes, 6 AFC championships in 6 years. Brock Purdy, 2 NFC championships in 2 years. Is this kind of the dawning of a new day in the NFC with Purdy being that guy who just dominates? Or what do you think him and the Niners are going to do this weekend?
Yeah, you know what I think? I think it's a problem of today's media world where there's no nuance. You're not allowed to have nuance in situations. Everybody wants to have the take. Everybody wants to have that hot button issue or that topic. Like, does he have incredible weapons around him? Yes, absolutely. Do they run an offense that's extremely effective and finds ways to get guys open, and also those guys just happen to be awesome playmakers? Absolutely. But also, does Brock Purdy perform well and get the job done? And he's made it to 2 NFC championships in a row. Yes. Is he sometimes doing it by himself and making these unbelievable plays? And is he Patrick Mahomes at this moment right now? No, I don't think so. But overall, has he done a good job? Yeah, he's been in the NFC championship 2 years in a row. So let's not detract and take away from that just because he's got an incredible team around him. I think the guy deserves credit. I think he takes more heat than he should. But also, they're a great team. They're just a great football team. Let's not take away from that.
Yeah, I think the issue with it all is we're going to find something to bitch about regardless. You know?
Always.
And Brock Purdy, wow, he's not supposed to be as good.
No.
Nope.
Team's not supposed to be as this good with him in there. But since he's been dropped into the fold, what are they, 21-5 or something like that? 20-5 or something like that, 17-3 when Debo's playing. And obviously, Debo, George Kittle told us yesterday, was a massive part of the game plan going into this game against the Packers. George Kittle said yesterday, going into the game, I thought Debo was going to have 3 touchdowns. So whenever Debo gets hurt early and they have to adjust, especially with the weather and everything, and then being able to find it late in the fourth quarter whenever they had to have it, it's like the kid's smart. He seems to have incredible
and
accuracy.
you guys know.
Go ahead.
You guys know with a locker room too, there's a ton of huge stars on that team, a ton of big names. And the way that locker room has talked about Brock, they've come out and they've worn shirts and they've said he is him and all of those things. You have to be a certain type of guy and a certain type of leader and a special guy to be able to go into that situation and perform well enough and also have the respect of your teammates and to be able to lead them at times like last game, in the last drive. That don't discount for that either. Being able to go in there and handle that as a leader and as a guy that they look to in the huddle. So I have respect for that as well. That's not as easy as people think.
That's another asset that he has that just says he's a guy. Now, is he 6'4"? No. Is he running a 4.3? No. Have other quarterbacks in the past been his size or shorter or his speed or slower and his arm or weaker and had great success? Yes. And Brock Purdy is proving to have the exact thing. He can't run and play the same exact style as maybe a Patrick Mahomes who can throw it lefty and off balance and everything like that. But what he does, he can extend a play if he has to.
Yep.
He finds good balance, so he has great technique and great fundamentals. And you talk about being able to balance all the egos, that's good politicking. He has to go keep everybody happy. Not only with balls, we've seen it with a lot of wide receivers. Yep. Now, granted, I think that Niners locker room is laser focused on just success. We don't care who has the numbers and stats. Everybody does, though. That is a real thing that happens and takes place. It just gets exposed in some places that aren't as good as many others. So being able to balance and coordinate all that stuff as the last pick in the draft. And I said yesterday, this guy was handed nothing. And I was talking about him in the NFL. Last pick of the draft, you're not even on a team. Guaranteed. Nope. You're not getting reps at practice. Once he got in the building, he was drafted. But other than that, it's you are very dispensable. You are worth, a last pick of the draft is worth nothing. Nobody's trading for the last pick of the draft ever for anything. So it's he's had to work through all of that and just continue to go. I'm nothing but impressed with the dude, genuinely. Yeah. And on the other side, Jared Goff, he was kicked out to Detroit. What him and MCDC have been able to do, have found an identity. It's beautiful up there with Ben Johnson's offense, JJ.
It's awesome. It's really cool to see everything going on in Detroit. Like you said, even with the simple narrative of Jared Goff kind of being pushed out, Stafford going, I know I've seen it all week, but possibly the most even trade in the history of trades. Everybody's happy the Rams win a Super Bowl with them. The Lions get Goff and they go and do this now. What they're building up there, the atmosphere that they've had at Ford Field these last couple weeks, and just how proud and happy and excited the people of Detroit are. It's really cool, and I'm looking forward to that game as well. I do think.
Who's that beer truck there? Who's that beer truck there? That tight end?
Brock Wright.
Yeah, that was awesome watching him get those knees up late. He was really running chest forward. That's the best. That guy was ready to go.
Huge play.
Yeah, no, I think Connor was right. These 4 teams, it's an exciting time. It's a very exciting championship matchups this weekend, and the winners of these 2 are going to create a hell of a Super Bowl, whoever ends up being.
130 million people watching that Super Bowl, I'm predicting.
Yeah, I
maybe even 140.
Yeah.
What was it last year?
114 or 113.
If Andrew makes it?
Well, and then
I think regardless. Yeah. You see these ratings numbers, everything is up and to the right, seems like.
Yeah. Well, last year I thought.
Every single time. Every time the tweets come out, they're we have never seen a game with this many in the history of football. I'm I saw that last week. And they're this time. Our CBS had 50 million plus viewers this past weekend, so it was awesome to see. It's incredible.
Did it peak?
The
at
NFL
50?
is king.
Peaked at 50 or 60?
56.
56
Yeah, I was
peak,
gonna say, yeah.
And then the 49, it peaked at
I
49.
think it might have been
earlier in the game.
56.1, 56. I don't know. I don't have the exact.
More than all the World Series games combined.
That's so with numbers up across the board, just for these games, I would assume Super Bowl is going to be
Might peak at 150.
the same type of thing. It's just like the NFL is the hottest show in town. I don't think it matters who's playing. Now, granted, Patrick Mahomes playing with Taylor Swift. And Travis Kelce in the middle of a dynasty run. People know who the hell they are. They're on a lot of commercials, so a lot of casuals know who they are, and there's a story to be told. Obviously, that's going to up ratings. Now, football people don't like that, but that's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
People that don't follow football every single day and aren't football people are going to be more interested. I don't know either. I don't understand.
Like we show male celebrities on TV all the time. We show Matthew McConaughey in the sidelines of Texas games all the time. You don't see like these.
We showed Blueface at the LA Rams game. Remember, Blueface was in the suite.
Kodak in the Panthers game.
Especially with the Super Bowl, like that's part of it. You have a large majority of people who are like just watching for the commercials. Like the spectacle is part of it. So if Taylor Swift's there, like a lot of people are going to be tuning in just to see her going apeshit in a suite.
We do have it on good authority from the New Heights podcast that Tay absolutely loved Jason Kelce.
Yeah. Nice.
So she's a human. I think she showcases that she's more human than
tough not to. I mean, that would have been a pretty big red flag if she didn't like Jason.
Bingo.
That's what we're saying, though. And there's been not even a single, some of Taylor's friends don't know if that big drunk Yeti is good for her image. Instead, it's been a complete opposite.
Well, I mean,
Taylor's becoming like a football.
He's a junkie.
Yeah, like she is all in, which I'm a massive fan of.
Yeah, Entertainment Tonight also reporting that, Travis has never been more focused about the Valentine's Day plans around the corner. So I think that's also it's also helping with
Chivalry's not dead, and we're thankful that she's dating a football guy, okay? We are very thankful that Travis Kelce is representing football as well as he is for all the Swifties, because she's been in relationships before that have been public, and they've been with some actor, musician.
No.
You think chivalry's happening? No way. Football guy. Let me hold that door for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm 6'5".
He's doing a good job, man. He's doing a good job. It's not easy. He doesn't have an easy place there to balance everything. I mean, obviously dating literally the most famous pop star in the world, and also being on a team in the AFC Championship game and handling everything that comes with that. I think you got to give credit to Trav. He's done a good job, and he's handled it all well, and he seems to be in a very happy and healthy relationship.
Hey, proud of you, Trav.
Good work, Trav.
At their soul, at the end of the day, Travis and Jason Kelce, both just Ohio folks.
Yep.
Right.
And that is something that can't be forgotten. Ain't that right, AJ?
That is correct. And JJ, staying in that game, let's say you were the D-line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. What's your rush plan for? What do you tell your guys? Hey, how are we rushing Lamar Jackson? What can we absolutely not let happen?
Number one thing with Lamar Jackson is obviously lanes. So you can't get too far up the field. You can't fly past him to create big lanes in the B gap. And you also don't want to rush too shallow, so then you create outside rush lanes where he can get outside of the pocket. But I would say first and foremost is not giving up those big gaps up the middle like you see right here, especially if you're in a cover 5, which is man under 2 deep, which means that those guys are going to be running with their backs turned to Lamar, and they're not going to be able to see him scramble, and he's going to have 30 yards like that. That's what a coach always tells you. If we're in man coverage, we are basically putting 100% of the onus on the defensive line to contain the quarterback. And that's where, as a defensive lineman, you start rushing and you see him get loose. That is where you are just in pure panic mode because nobody's coming to help. I got to chase him. And newsflash, I am nowhere near as fast as Lamar Jackson. So we are screwed. So it's those lanes up the middle. So I would tell my guys, we got the 2 pushers in the middle. You can't get pushed wide like they did right here. This was clearly a design draw, and it was executed extremely well. And then just the outside guys can't rush past the passer. The problem with that is, as a defensive lineman and as a coach, you're basically kind of telling your pass rushers to not do what they do best, and that's play free and play loose and go get the quarterback. So it's a very fine line in balancing your D-line and saying, go do what you do best, but at the same time, reining it in a little bit. It's a hard place to be, and that's what Lamar does to you.
A lot more discipline. Obviously, it's different playing against Lamar than anybody else. I assume it was similar whenever Michael Vick was playing back in the day. But the first time we played Lamar and they had a DB playing quarterback, I was like, well, feels like we're probably in a bad spot. Like, we just want to get a look for what it could be. And obviously, just punt returner taking it to the house every time. It's like, oh, yeah, and also he can throw it 65, 70 yards. It's a bananas weapon.
It's impossible because, like, all your defenses basically are lined up to handle 10 people because you don't worry about, like, the quarterback he might throw it or hand it off, but he's not going to do much. Now you have to reconfigure all your defenses to count for that 11th person in any run play and any pass play. It's fascinating. I talked to TJ about it, obviously, because that AFC North, those guys all beat up on each other. And, like, the Steelers beat them twice this year, obviously the second time without most of their starters. But, you start to figure it out. Okay, why do these teams have success, but literally no one else can? And all those reps and all those things over the years just add up, and they start to have a little bit better feel. And
what's his record against the NFC? It's like 30-1 or something.
Yeah, it's something absurd.
21-1 maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was
so hard.
I thought it was 21-0.
Who'd he lose to?
Yeah, I didn't remember the loss.
He lost to.
It's hard to prepare if you haven't played against it. The AFC North, like Steelers know, like Tomlin is saying the same message against Lamar. Hey, just like we experienced last week, we just got it, or last year, we got to do this. Yeah. Whenever you're playing for the first time, you have 6 days to prepare for something that it takes years to maybe develop the discipline. Lamar Jackson is 20-3 against the NFC in his career.
Jeez. Giants last year.
Tough to prepare for. Wink Martindale said, I was at Baltimore. Here's what we need to do against Lamar. So now that the Chiefs are coming to town, and that D-line was talked about, D-Butt has a sports media question for you.
Yeah, we had a sports media segment earlier that Connor just absolutely ambushed.
That's not true.
Bring you in on here.
You did too. Let's not get crazy.
Yeah. And obviously, as a D-line expert, I want you to power rank these last 4 D-line groups left in the dance.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is very on the spot. Tough question.
No, sports media,
Got
dude.
Hutch
Welcome.
and the boys.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Let's see here. How do I get myself not just absolutely destroyed?
They're all great
here. They're all.
No winning.
They literally.
Yeah, whoever put
there's no winning here.
You could just tie them, I guess. They were all tied.
About Detroit.
I mean, the Ravens have got, like, Matabuke is still underrated in my opinion. Like, how he wasn't first team All Pro is, in my personal opinion, criminal. Like, the guy had an unbelievable year. He should have been first team. I don't know how he didn't. So, dude, this is because there are some dudes on these D-lines. I think I'm going with the Ravens 1.
Okay. Are you adding linebacker core into that as well? Are you doing front center right now?
No, front. No, it's just front. Just front. You had linebacker core. It's 2. I mean, there's you got Greenlaw and you got the 49ers and the Ravens inside linebackers. Those are the 2 best units in the world, hands down. I mean, you got Patrick Queen and
we got 2 rankings. Holy hell! We just ranked the inside linebackers.
That's crazy.
Now we're doing D-line rankings.
We're done. We did it. Good job.
No, who's last? Who's fourth?
Yeah, who's the worst
we did it.
D-line
We did it. We did a good job.
Who's the worst D-line still around?
Say it.
Lions, one of the best against the run.
Just say it.
Chris
Everybody's
Jones
tied.
Chiefs.
Everybody's tied for second.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you had to, like, if I truly had to do one right now, I mean, I'd have to say it's probably Detroit.
Bulletin board. There's some bulletin board material.
There's more. Detroit. There's more. Hate.
I mean,
Thank you, JJ.
Like, not,
Wow.
I'm not.
You don't like the city of Detroit's comeback story? You don't like
Hutch.
Listen to this guy, Detroit.
Hutch is awesome.
Minsky.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't know.
We gave you a lot of outs. You had 3 tied at second potentially.
Yeah, I know, but I'm also here to play. I'm here to play the game.
Hell yeah.
It's time to play the game.
AQ's got his ranking.
AQ would like to dive into the sports media. Is this D-line or O-line?
This was D-line.
Okay, who is it?
I just wanted to see where he was at. I also had the Lions last.
Oh no!
Thank you, AQ.
Last
But
of the AFC.
Bingo.
AFC
That's
champions.
the last of the best
You're
4
phenomenal
teams.
D-line.
You got him ranked top 5 in the league. Top 5 in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
Top 5 in the
Top
league.
5 in the league.
Which is very good. So you got Lions, and then who you got 1?
I had Niners 1, Ravens 2.
Okay, got it.
You got Bosa, Armstead makes $115 million. They got
Chase.
Chase Young. They got
JJ.
Hargrave, who makes $9 million.
Strongly shaking off
shaking his head.
AQ.
Yeah, what's that all about?
Wow.
Where's PFF?
Defend your take.
Where does PFF have it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good
just check
question.
the site.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah. Let's see what the world of imaginary numbers has.
Let me look it up.
Why do you
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
Why do you think
Nobody needs
Baltimore
or cares or
over
wants to.
Niners? You were very because in my head, while you said
I
Baltimore,
think they get home. Like I think I could really make myself look like an absolute moron here because I actually don't know the numbers. I don't have them in front of me. What are the sack numbers? What are the sack numbers?
Mr. PFF Stinks.
You want
these are actual numbers. These are actual.
I do think the Ravens did lead the league in sacks. I'm pretty
sack is a real statistic. It is something that actually happens in the game. That is a real statistic. It is not some made-up Fugazi number of I think you won this rush.
Fugazi. Pass rush.
Fugazi.
How important are pressures, though?
Nice.
Are pressures important to you?
Pretty good. Nice. Pretty good.
That's a good question, AJ.
Pressures are great. No, they're great. Pressures are great. I think it's extremely subjective. Who's deciding what is a pressure, what isn't a pressure? I think that's very subjective. I mean, I saw on the internet this weekend a massive debate about when Tony Romo said that Chris Jones caused that bad throw by Josh Allen. And half the people were like, he didn't even affect the throw in any capacity, and the other half were like, wow, what a pressure. He did affect it. Like, so who knows? If one person's grading it, they're not giving him a pressure on that play. If another person's grading it, they are. He literally caused the interception. So, like, there's all sorts of different things, and that's why you just got to be really careful with subjective numbers like that where you've got all that going on. But
the Detroit Lions were in Baker's Grill pretty much all day. And, Aaron Glenn was scheming it. So now you also got to dive into the defensive coordinators, which, JJ, I would like to hear you rank all 4 defensive coordinators that are left out there. It should be the 4 teams left. And obviously trying to dissect negativity out of it is going to be tough. And it is sports media as a whole. But, as I said at the beginning to you, I think they got it right. Like, these 4 teams are, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
We have it right on offensive side, defensive side. I feel like the characteristics of the team are what we want football to represent. It's tough. It's hard-nosed. There's electricity on the field for everybody. All 4 teams have electric playmakers that can come out of nowhere and make big plays. It's like
7-point dogs?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah. What do you think?
That seems excessive for an NFC championship game, does it not?
Yes.
You said their D-line was no good, so that's...
Yeah, you said that.
It's moving to 7.5.
Yeah, the sports books are listening to you.
Like at 10.
Yeah. I mean, the Dome is now being talked about for the Lions. You should see them at home. They're phenomenal. But open air, when there's fresh air coming in, can't play. Can't play. That's what everybody's saying.
Only averaging 17.
It's supposed to be 70 degrees. I think no wind. But, the stats are saying open air stadiums, the Lions' worst nightmare. That's what they're saying, JJ.
Well, I mean, that's what the Browns had happen to them. If you look at their stats from the season, they were the number 1 defense in the NFL at home, and they were the number 32 defense on the road. And then they went on the road in the playoffs and obviously had a very tough showing. So there's only a few factors that I can think that actually matter when you go on the road versus at home. And obviously the number 1 for a defense specifically is crowd noise and being able to get the snap count and things like that. But beyond that, like over the course of a whole season, yes, in one game you might have rainy conditions or the grass is slippery or something like that. But for that stat to happen over the course of a whole season is a stat that I truly don't know how to wrap my head around. I cannot figure out how you would be number 1 at home and number 32 on the road. There isn't real logistical reason why that would work.
Well, it's because the hotels are choosing to stay in a crap.
Exactly.
Yeah, they need to